Here's the hard part about breaking open your wounds. You have to be willing to go look at it for the truth that it is. So if you were wounded at 5 years old, then your 5-year-old self, and I'm not talking about Sybil here and a bunch of personalities, but that 5-year-old self has to be able to trust the adult that you are today. And if you are not a trustable adult, that 5-year-old self will not come forward and come clean with you. You cannot go look at that wound with psychobabble. You cannot try to break it open and look at it with a, well, no, you know, my mother didn't speak to me correctly and it was just a really uncomfortable place to be. That is not looking at your wound. That is your adult trying to justify and identify whatever happened at 5. If you were 25, whatever age you were wounded at, and you know what? It doesn't have to be some big, ugly wound. It doesn't have to be a molesting or an abuse or a murder or what. It doesn't have to be these great big things that wound us deeply. Sometimes it's a simple little word like, I hate you. But I hate you at a child's level or at a, you know, in an abusive way can embed itself within us and become something that is really damaging and wounding. Okay? You have to be willing to open it up, see it for the truth that it is. You have to be that trustable adult that that younger self can trust and come clean. You have to be able to see it for that 5-year-old self, not the adult that you are. You know, my healing with the molesting only really began about 2 years ago. And it took me becoming a trustable adult. And what I mean by that is I had started walking with God about 4 years prior to that. I had started trying to walk with God, I should say. I had made the decision, this is the direction I'm going to go. This is the commitment I'm going to make. I made a commitment to myself that every single Friday morning, no matter what happened, I was going to be at this one woman's group meeting. And I did it, and I made it. And there were many times I did not feel like going, but I said, no, I promised this to me. And if at the end of a year it doesn't work, what am I out? A couple hours of fellowship once a week with some women. What's it going to hurt me? And that's the commitment I made. And that's where I talk about that butterfly effect, that you pick one thing and watch that one simple thing, that one time every week that I made with these other women, everything in my life started being affected. Okay, fast forward 4 years later, when all the doors opened about the molesting. I always knew it was there, but I refused to look at it. I couldn't see it 100%. It played around in the back of my head. I knew it affected me, but I allowed other thought to embed in it and embrace it. I didn't look at it for the truth that it was. In that process, the day that all of that wound opened up, and I'm telling you, it flat broke open, and it was ugly and nasty and beautiful at the same time because I was able to see. If I hadn't walked the way I walked for those 4 years, I could not have allowed that wound to break open. If I would not have allowed it to break open and saw the truth of every ugly, dirty piece of it, I could not stand here and talk to you today because I would not be healed. My power would still be with that abuser. You see what I mean? See the difference? It took those 4 years of God walking me the way He wanted me to walk so that that one wound could break open. And that one wound breaking open allowed Wounded Refuge to be born. Allowed all of this to start happening. Allowed a huge healing in me and continued healing to come. But again, it was that blessing in the breaking. And that blessing started long before the wound was ready to be broken. So you ask me, how do you break open that wound? You embrace one thing today. And then you watch it butterfly effect in your life like you will not believe. Because if you will make the commitment, 1 year from today, I'll mark it on my calendar. 1 year from today, I will bring it up. And you will look back on that year, and I promise you, you will be able to say, I am closer to God today than I was a year ago. I am stronger today than I was a year ago. I am a better woman today than I was a year ago. And I am more healed today than I was a year ago. And you know what? I have more of my power today than I did a year ago. And there's not, since I started that walk 6 years ago, there has not been one day, 1 year, that I can't honestly say that. Every single year, I can say, I am stronger, I am better, I am doing more, I am closer to God than I was a year ago.